Hello to everyone. In this podcast, we're talking about resilience. It seems appropriate time to talk about it at the start of the new year when we make our New Year's resolutions. We aim to become better version of ourselves, so why not to become more resilient? And we have also invited our master students to share their views on resilience. So Siobhan, what does resilience mean to you?
Resilience is a really interesting subject, and it's not just something for the start of the year. I think it means a lot to different people. I think sometimes we look at resilience as being a superpower, and I think the danger of thinking of it as a superpower is that we feel that it's beyond our grasp, and it isn't. To me, resilience is where flexibility meets the ability to bounce back with the element of learning and reflecting. You aren't defeated by what life throws at you, but instead you take the opportunity to learn from the experience and develop further. Because it's all about constant growth. Experience offers you the opportunities to grow. It's how you deal with the situation. Perspectives are the key area here, putting things then into action. And I think you have to move back from the concept of perfection. Okay, it's not about perfection. I hear people say, I'm a perfectionist, as if it's a positive behaviour. Just stop right there now, because you can't be perfect and you're putting too much emotional and mental pressure on yourself. And that isn't going to help you or the situation or your ability to develop resilience. So fact number one is we all have to fail, and it's a natural part of learning, and it's part of our personal professional development. Failure is good. It teaches us things. Things will and do go wrong, and you've got to learn not only how to cope with that, but you've got to learn to think, okay, what went wrong? Why? What can I change?
Thanks for this, Shiv. So, what about careers resilience? How is it different and what is it to you? Why do you think it's important that we are career resilient?
To me, it's about understanding yourself and the opportunities that are open to you. Resilience needs self-awareness, and this leads to self-belief and self-confidence, and this then leads to assertiveness. But confidence without self-awareness spells trouble. You need to know yourself, what you want. You need to consider your reputation, what it says about you. And career confidence needs opportunity awareness. You need to be in touch with what's important to you. So let's cut to the chase. Life isn't perfect, neither are we. Things will go well, other things won't. And being self-aware and connected to our values means that we give ourselves a stronger chance of resilience by accepting the reality. We need also to be kind to ourselves. We often expect more of ourselves than others, and you need to be a friend to yourself as well as other people. So building in flexibility, wriggle room if you like, allows you to adapt, but you need to be setting realistic goals and reviewing both your successes and your failures as what they really are, learning opportunities. Sometimes not getting a job works out better in the long term, although it's really disappointing in the short term. For example, how have you created your career goals? What information have you used to develop those goals? How adaptable are your plans? How much research have you done? What does success mean to you? Not anyone else, just you. Many people don't even give much thought to their career plans. They've got quite vague ideas of what success looks like, and they haven't considered how their needs and circumstances are going to change over time.
I absolutely agree with what you say, Shiv, and Forey and Van Buren argue that careers resilience should be cultivated by individuals pursuing modern-day careers as critical career competency. So setting career goals and plans is important, and we all advise students to do this. At the same time, students need to be prepared to expect the unexpected. Life happens. COVID happened. The economic turmoil is happening, and these are all things beyond our control. But positive things can happen too, which will change the direction of travel. So it's only wise to build resilience and adaptability into your career. So, talking about this, what are the main factors of career resilience, Siobhan? And how can you demonstrate that you're resilient?
I think recruiters look for you to show how you use your transferable skills and your transferable behaviours. Are you flexible and adaptable? Thinking about past disappointments, how did you deal with them? How well did you plan for change? What's important to you? And how can you explain to yourself and to a recruiter what is important to you? Recruiters are always looking for how you think through processes, how you connect not only to your core values, but theirs. And a lot of applicants spend a lot of time thinking about why they want the job, but not always why they want to work for that company. And they don't always explain their motivation and what attracts them and what opportunities they feel the company will give them. So recruiters also want you to think and demonstrate that you're thinking about your career, your long-term goals. And these might be quite rough or hazy at the moment, but how are you going to overcome obstacles that are in your way? Or are you going to be someone who is able to kind of reconsider their thinking and sometimes even back down? Admit that you're wrong about something, because we work so much in teams, we're often challenged about our thinking. And I think it's really important when we consider why we want to do something in the particular way we want to do it. And there's no harm ever in saying, do you know what? I got that wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's no harm in saying, I'm sorry. Because that shows your colleagues you value them and you respect them. It's okay to say, I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have done it in that way, or I should have spoken to you first. And I think we really have an issue here in terms of mixing resilience and assertiveness, and thinking that assertiveness is about getting your way all the time. Resilience says, actually, do you know what? That's not possible. I've got to learn to deal with that. I also think resilience is a life skill, so that you're going to need not only throughout your career, but in your personal life. You're going to have to get used to having setbacks, whether it's not getting a promotion, whether it's not getting that job right now that you set your heart on. You can often go into yourself. You can often start to then worry about, I didn't do well there, I'm never going to achieve this. But really what resilience is about saying is, okay, what can I do differently? And often we set ourselves up to fail. We kind of think of the perfect job, and there's only one particular perfect job. And that isn't true. There are going to be lots of really great opportunities throughout our career. Nothing is going to be fantastic all the time. There's going to be downsides in everything. And with the benefit of hindsight, we can actually say, it was good I didn't get that other job. It's not as good as this one. I'm glad I'm in this job and I can see how I've developed and grown since applying for that job or getting that promotion. And, looking ahead, we have to consider things like redundancy is going to happen to us at one point in our lives, if it hasn't already happened to some of us. What I would say to you is, once you get through the shock and uncertainty, you start to have feelings of rejection and anger, and you have to acknowledge those things before the resilience kicks in, and then start to accept what's happening and say to yourself, okay, what am I going to do now? What are my next steps? So at this point, I think if we talk to one of our students, so tell us a bit about how you see resilience.
So I think resilience to me is the ability to recover from setbacks, to adapt well, to change, and to keep going in the face of adversity. Where life doesn't come up with a map, you will experience your twists and turns. And from everyday challenges to traumatic events that may have more lasting impact. I think each challenge will affect you in a way that is unique to you. However, people can generally adapt well over time to stressful or even life-changing situations, all thanks to resilience. And I see resilience as long-term behavior, the tenacity to keep going. It is, how do you resource yourself to navigate the challenging times?
Brilliant, yeah. I totally agree there. I think there's some really good points.
Yeah. I think sooner or later, everyone comes up with challenging times. I also have had my own tough experiences. I still remember the time when I was giving interviews for my first job. I remember I used to feel stressed about the expectations, about, the questions. And in fact, I questioned myself multiple times if I'm doing things right and will I be able to get the job. Now, I think the fear of rejection and stepping into the unknown was stopping me to give my best. And looking back, I think it was only my ability to being flexible and dig deep through those challenges and mistakes that I made. I was able to build the confidence to grow, to change, and to adapt. And for me, the key is to engage with such challenges in an effective way, not ignoring them or pretending they don't exist, but understanding them. And I think for me, resilience involves behavior. And there are quite a few things that I practice, and it really helps me in being resilient. Putting in the time to be with your friends and family, taking care of your body, eating good food, keeping a regular sleep schedule, practicing mindfulness to avoid negative outlets. These are things that I practice in my daily life, and I believe that they are helping me a lot in being resilient. I also feel like finding purpose and keep me moving towards your goals. I know these are like small steps, but they are steps forward. Embracing healthy thoughts and keeping things in perspective, accepting change, all help in being resilient. And lastly, I think asking for help when required, as it is crucial in building resilience.
Definitely agree with that. And I think your point about small steps, you get further than trying to make huge leaps, because when you make huge leaps, you fall.
I think also asking for help. I think strong people are able to recognize that they can't help or can't achieve things themselves, so they need help. But you need to be savvy enough to know where to look for that help.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Siobhan and I are very keen on putting this podcast and making students aware that help is around them at the university and beyond.
Definitely. And, surviving is always great, getting through things like the autumn term. And I'll say to people, the autumn term is really intense. It's going to get hard sometimes, but you'll find some pleasures along the way too that you weren't expecting. Find the fun, enjoy yourself, ask for help, as you said, because you're not going to get judged by it. If you're struggling with this, actually, I'm going to think, oh, they're really, they're using their common sense. They know they've reached their boundaries. They need that support. I'm going to reach out and help them as much as I can, or direct them onto somewhere else who can help them. I think it's really important we don't live or even try to live perfectly and assume that we know everything that we need to know. Because why are we at a university if we know everything? It's all about growing. And I think also, we come across people who've got 5-year plans and mapped out everything. Life gets in the way of that. I think it's helpful to have check-in points and as you said, short-term goals, but forget the master plan. Scaling back our plans, creating tangible staging points. That's what's going to help us to achieve more. And I think also celebrating our successes, however little they are, it helps us to motivate ourselves onwards.
I like the idea of self-compassion, as you mentioned, and positive thinking, which make us stronger facing our daily challenges. It links to one of the main career resilience factors, belief in oneself, and maybe to be being self-reliant. Siobhan, would you like to comment on this, being self-reliant?
Yeah, I think the whole concept of being self-reliant and self-aware is a really key area, because it comes from that point of self-confidence that says, actually, for a lot of people, in the first term, they tend to say to themselves, oh my God, I don't know this, and they all know this, and why didn't I know this? And they start to go in on themselves, and it's kind of like, no, self-belief. You were bright enough to get here, you worked really hard to achieve this. Celebrate that. And celebrate the fact that you're wise enough to know that you don't know everything. And I think not everybody has the opportunities that you have had to get through to Warwick. and accept you are not perfect. And once you accept that, you become more self-confident, you become more self-aware, and that will build your resilience. You realise that not only can you achieve this, but you deserve more. And, as I said, no one's perfect. I'm a really terrible dyslexic. I know I make lots of spelling errors and mistakes. It doesn't stop me from being good at my job. So don't kind of think to yourself, oh my God, I can't do that because of this. You can do whatever you feel. It's about tapping into those networks and those opportunities. I think sometimes people don't even realise the alumni facilities. And so what I would say to people listening to this podcast is, don't wait until you've left, but check into the networks that are going to help you now. And I'm happy always to hear back from people. Once you're settled in work, make sure you're part of the alumni network. Come back, come to events. We want you here as a representative of your organisation, and then you can be the helping hand to future graduates from your own department and wider.
Okay, thank you for this chat. It's been great talking to you. And special thanks to our guest students, and thank you to all our listeners. More is coming next month. Until then, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.